isang paa mo. Pakita mo. Tayo ka nga.
They sit on sidewalks, look helpless, and tug at your heartstrings, but what if it's all just an act? You'd be stunned at the length some people go just to pose as the needy while secretly living large behind the scenes. If you've got a roof over your head, chances are you've felt that urge to help someone less fortunate. And that's a beautiful thing until your kindness gets played. From hidden luxury cars to switching outfits in alleys, these fake beggars have mastered the con until the truth came crashing down. Your hotspot for the wildest, weirdest, and most mind-blowing facts on the internet. And trust us, you don't want to miss number one. Because this shameless scammer ran a full-blown panhandling empire. Let's expose the lies. Here are 10 fake beggars who were finally busted.
We've been watching you the last few days, and you don't really need those crutches, do you? We saw you this morning walking perfectly fine.
Number 10, the method actress. She limped, begged, and looked like the very picture of despair posted daily on New York City's luxurious Fifth Avenue, where generous shoppers happily handed over bills and coins. On a good day, she'd score help from nearly 50 people an hour. But when night fell, the mask dropped. Caught on camera, she casually ditched the limp, hopped into a minivan, and sped off, transforming from helpless to high-functioning in seconds. It was less down and out, and more up and thriving. When Inside Edition dug deeper, the truth was worse than expected. On her days off, this so-called victim was seen shopping, hanging with friends, and living a very normal life. And when a reporter finally confronted her on the street, she had no words but stayed completely in character. Now that's either top-tier acting or top-tier manipulation. And trust us if you think this was bold. Wait until number one. That scammer didn't just fake poverty. He turned it into a business. Number 9. Bus, Ted Beggar. It looked like a man was harassing a poor, legless beggar until the real story unraveled in front of everyone. In 2016, on the streets of Altai, China, a supposed amputee crawled through crowds, tugging at heartstrings and collecting donations. But one passerby had seen something earlier that day, something that didn't add up. That same beggar had walked off a bus, fully upright. Fed up with the fake act, the man walked straight up to him, grabbed his waistband, and pulled down the beggar's pants, exposing 2 perfectly healthy legs tucked into oversized underwear. The shocked crowd watched as the crippled man's scam collapsed instantly, and all he could do was crawl away in shame while phones recorded the entire moment. He may have fooled strangers for a while, but in the end, the only thing he crippled was his own credibility. And trust us, this isn't the biggest scam in the countdown. One of these frauds turned panhandling into a business model. Number 8. Pity party. Sometimes, all it takes to sell a lie is a convincing prop, and Paul Gachira Mwangi knew exactly how to use one. Seen regularly on the streets of Thika, Kenya, Paul begged with what looked like a catheter stuck to his stomach, drawing sympathy and donations from kind strangers. But in 2013, his game fell apart when people discovered the catheter was a complete fake, crafted with nothing but a rubber tube, a plastic bag, and super glue. Outrage swept through the community. But Paul's story wasn't just black and white. After his wife passed away from AIDS, he was left to raise their children alone. Desperation pushed him into deception, but the law didn't care about the why. He was charged with obtaining money under false pretenses, and his sympathy act officially turned into a criminal case. A heartbreaking motive behind a heartless move, and proof that even sorrow can be weaponized for profit. And believe it or not, this is still just the surface. One scammer on our list pretended to be disabled. Number 7. It's a miracle. In a viral CCTV clip from Lahore, Pakistan, a man is seen painfully dragging himself across the pavement, portraying the image of a severely disabled beggar. By his side, a woman and children, adding to the scene of hardship that tugs at your heart. His arms look tired, his movements are slow, and anyone watching might feel compelled to help. But what happened next turned sympathy into outrage. The man pauses at a doorstep to rest, visibly worn out from the day's struggle. Then suddenly, as if touched by a miracle, he stands up, straightens his clothes, and walks away like he was never injured at all. The transformation was so casual, it was infuriating. No cure, No recovery, just another day in the life of a full-time fraud. Turns out, the only thing truly disabled was the truth. And once that footage hit the internet, game over. If that blew your mind, just wait, someone else on this list faked an illness for years and made thousands doing it. Number 6. Collab with a con man. In 2014, what started as a casual tip turned into one of YouTube's most jaw-dropping investigations. Californian prankster Jack Vale, known for his social experiments, was alerted about a suspicious panhandler who always seemed to work the same corner and looked surprisingly well-groomed doing it. So, with curiosity piqued, Jack and his crew followed the man after his shift. And that's when it all unraveled. Instead of heading to a shelter or a back alley, the man slipped into a shiny car and drove off, eventually pulling into a quiet suburban neighborhood. The homeless act ended right at the doorstep of a comfortable home. When the YouTubers confronted him, he first claimed it was a friend's place, until he snapped and yelled, "Get off my property!" That's right, his property. From sidewalk sorrow to suburban security, this guy was living a full-on double life and almost got away with it. Until YouTube did what YouTube does best: expose the truth. Number 5. Unexpected twists. At first glance, she seemed like a struggling, pregnant mother doing her best to survive, standing outside a San Diego shopping plaza with her young son, holding a sign and asking for help. The image was powerful, and generous strangers were quick to give. But everything changed when one woman spotted her again in a very different setting. Melissa Smith was filling up gas when she saw the same helpless mother, now sitting comfortably inside a shiny black Mercedes-Benz, laughing with her boyfriend and counting a wad of cash. And it didn't stop there. Melissa later saw her pull into another shopping mall, ready to repeat the act like it was a well-rehearsed performance. When local news confronted her, she claimed she couldn't speak English and quickly fled the scene, never to be seen again. Neither she nor her partner were ever identified, leaving viewers stunned by how easily trust was manipulated. And if this made your jaw drop, wait till you see the next scammer, who faked a full-on medical condition and had the public fooled for years. Number 4. Poor old professor. Not every beggar is a con artist. Some are simply abandoned by the very people who should have protected them. That's the heartbreaking case of Dinesh Dwivedi, a retired teacher from Jaipur, India, who holds 2 PhDs and receives a monthly pension of 35,000 rupees. On paper, he shouldn't be on the streets, but reality told a different story. Between 2007 and 2012, Dinesh was seen crawling through city streets, begging for spare change. Why? Because his own 25-year-old son allegedly beat him and stole his pension to fund a drug habit. Crippled by a leg injury and trapped in his own home, Dinesh was forced to crawl outside just to survive, while neighbors and even tenants in the same building ignored his suffering for 5 years. He wasn't scamming anyone, he was simply trying to stay alive. Thankfully, his story reached the local government, and he was eventually relocated to a shelter for senior citizens. But his tale serves as a stark reminder that not every hand that begs is deceptive, some are just desperate. Coming up next, a scam so believable, an entire town was fooled for years. Number 3. Busted boomer. She looked every bit the part of a frail 78-year-old woman sitting outside a shopping mall, holding out a cup with trembling hands. Shoppers like Daniel Ayala gave her change, believing they were helping someone truly in need. But that illusion was shattered the day another shopper, Brandy Newman, pulled out her phone and hit record. In the video, the helpless granny is seen casually hopping into a 2013 Fiat, parked comfortably around the corner far from the scene of struggle she portrayed. Daniel, stunned by the truth, confronted her directly in a moment that quickly went viral. "You're asking for money in the street and you drive a car like that?" He snapped. "I work hard for my money. People like you are taking advantage of people like me." She didn't deny it. She didn't explain. She just sat there silent, unapologetic, and fully exposed. Turns out, this wasn't a cry for help. It was a well-practiced act. And the kicker? This granny was running her own silent hustle in broad daylight. Up next, a scam so slick, it had an entire town convinced for years even the doctors didn't see it coming. Number 2. Crazy rich beggar. On the streets of Richmond, Virginia, Mica Le Dominguez became infamous not for her poverty, but for her attitude. She was often seen panhandling at busy intersections. But if you dared to refuse her, she'd allegedly chuck Gatorade bottles at your car. Fed up, two locals, Wayne Owens and Ian Patterson, followed her, and what they found was outrageous. She wasn't headed to a shelter. She climbed into her 2014 Fiat SUV like it was no big deal. When they confronted her, things got heated fast. "Why are you begging if you've got a 2014? Owens asked. Dominguez fired back with threats and zero shame. Turns out, this wasn't a cry for help. It was a full-on roadside hustle. The #1 scammer who faked a life-altering condition and fooled an entire city. Number 1. The greatest charlatan. You've heard of fake injuries, but Gary Thompson took it to another level. On the streets of Lexington, Kentucky, he played the role of a mentally disabled man in a wheelchair, stuttering through pleas for help. Strangers, moved by what they thought was a tragic life, gave generously. But the real tragedy? It was all an act. Gary did suffer a motorcycle accident years ago, which made walking difficult, but the wheelchair? Optional. The stutter? Completely fake. In fact, Thompson studied speech pathology and could switch his stutter on and off at will. When confronted by reporters, he didn't deny anything, he actually laughed, admitting the scam and even bragged that panhandling made him nearly $100,000 a year, on top of $24,000 in income benefits and $80,000 in Medicaid support. No shame, no remorse, just a con man with a PhD in deception, milking sympathy for profit while others genuinely suffer. And there you have it, from props to pensions. These fake beggars fooled thousands, but in the end, the truth always finds a way out.